So you landed on this video because you want all the hacks for toddler sleep that actually work. I'm not even gonna waste any time. I am going to jump straight into tip number 1 / hack / trick / every parent out there is like, what's the secret magic trick to make my kids sleep? Guess what? It's consistency! Yeah, consistency. Bye, that's it. That's the end of this video. I'm out. All right, just kidding. I've got 4 more for you. In all reality, being consistent with your child's sleep schedule, sleep routines, all the things, consistency, that's your ticket, okay? You want like a magic wand, you want like a free, I don't know, whatever you're looking for, consistency is the answer. Do you want to lose 10 pounds? Consistently work out and eat better. Do you want to, I don't know, run a marathon? Consistently get running. Like, do you want like better, clearer skin? Consistently take care of it. Like, honestly, that's about as much as I'm gonna say about the whole consistency thing. It is what it is. If you want your child's sleep to improve, you need to be consistent. Consistent on what, you say, Missy? I'll tell you. That brings us into toddler sleep hack number 2, and that is bedtime routine cards. I've talked about this before. I've made entire videos all about bedtime routine cards. If you don't have bedtime routine cards, get mine. You can use the template that I have linked in the description box down below to customize them, or you can print them as they are, cut them out and hang them up on your child's wall, or laminate them and use them on the floor on a nightly basis during your bedtime routine. But your child's bedtime routine needs to be consistent. It needs to be in the same order every single night. Your child needs to know what to expect, what comes next, and how is this routine gonna go every single day. When your child knows what to expect, they are more likely to comply with the directions because they already know what's expected of them. So if it's something different every single day, they may be anxious and on edge because they don't know what's coming next. When you're setting up your child's bedtime routine cards, it is so important that you know what kind of child you have. And that sounds really funny. But like, do you have a child who needs to get out all of their energy and they need to have a lot of active physical play before bed, like a half hour before bed? Or do you have a child who needs like an hour of calm wind down time? Maybe you have a child who just wants to sit in the living room and like read books or do puzzles or play a board game or do something really calm before you go upstairs and do their bedtime routine. But maybe you have a kid who wants to get on the ground and wrestle, and like maybe like the whole like dads who rile up their kids before bed and like how moms get really upset about it. Like, there is something to it where some kids really need to get out that last burst of energy before they go to bed, and some kids it just does rile them up. So if you have a child who it gets them all riled up and it just doesn't really do them any good, then you need to make that earlier in the evening. Maybe like if mom's cooking dinner, dad's wrestling with the kids, or whatever it might be, then you can kind of do it in that order and then have a calm bedtime routine in your child's bedroom. When it comes to having a predictable bedtime routine, there's flexibility within prediction and consistency. The consistency is that maybe you're going to get pajamas on, brush teeth, read a book, have some cuddles, get in bed. Maybe that's your routine every single night. But what your child can choose is what books they're going to read. So only have books in the room that you want to read at bedtime. Otherwise, they're going to be like, here, let's read this entire dictionary, encyclopedia, or whatever. They will bring you a big, thick, long book because they know that they can get you to read the whole thing. So only have books in the room that you want to read at bedtime, and that those are the only options, so that no matter what your child picks, when you do give them that control, it doesn't really matter what they're picking, but they are in control of certain things. Your child can pick out their own pajamas. They can pick out if you sit next to their bed or lay with them for a minute to tuck them in. It doesn't really matter how you're doing the things, but that you're doing them in the same order every day. Hack number 3 is your child's sleep environment. So you need to hack their sleep environment. You need to make sure that it is pitch black, that you have the white noise still. A lot of parents say, well, my kid's a toddler now. I don't think they need the white noise anymore, but they definitely do still need the white noise. There really is no age where it's like you have to stop the white noise. Like, adults still like white noise. So it's not something that is going to damage or like have any like long-term impact unless it's too loud. So make sure that you're testing the decibels and they're somewhere around 50 decibels overnight, and that it's not too loud, but there is no harm in having the white noise still at a toddler age. Another thing about their sleep environment that is a little bit tricky is the darkness. You do want your child's room to be as blackout dark as possible if and only if if your child expresses a fear of the dark, then you can use a nightlight, but I always recommend using a red nightlight that won't stimulate the brain in the middle of the night while they're going through their sleep cycles, having that moment of wakefulness, because if they're having a like white daytime light, it's going to tell their brain that it's daytime and that they don't need to go back to sleep and that they no longer need to produce melatonin because it's time to wake up. So make sure that you are keeping that nightlight on a red, cool color that is not going to wake them up. Another thing with toddlers' environment is to have them close their door at bedtime. I know a lot of kids really don't enjoy having their doors closed at bedtime, but if you practice having their door closed from a young age, then it's all that they're gonna know, and they shouldn't become scared of having their door closed. It should just be part of bedtime. Not only do you want to block out noises within the house, so like you don't wanna have to walk on eggshells around your child's bedroom if like you have to walk past their room to get to your room. You wanna be able to close the door so you can just walk right past it and not like ninja crawl over to your room or wherever. You don't want like cats and dogs making like little sounds that are waking up your child and or getting in your child's bed and waking them up. I remember when I was a kid, my cat slept at the foot of my bed every single night, and sometimes like she would just creep up way too close to my head, and I would just like wake up and not be chill with it. I mean, I miss that cat so much. She was such a good cat, but like I just remember those nights of being like waking up in the night, picking her up and putting her outside my door and then closing my door. So close your kid's door. And especially if your kid is still in a crib and they're getting an animal jumping into their crib, this happens often with cats, then obviously it can wake them up, whether it's a cat or a dog or whatever. If they're in a toddler bed and the animal is climbing in their bed, then yes, that can wake them up as well. And I say animal, but I also mean like younger siblings as well, because I've gone through stints of my middle child climbing into bed with actually my oldest and my youngest. She is just a cuddle bug at the core, and she always just like wanted to sleep with them because she loves them and just wants to give them hugs and kisses all the time. And so she would get in their beds because she knew she wasn't allowed to come into my bed, in which she still does come into my bed, but now she knows to come in the morning after her alarm clock goes up. Story for another day. Anyways, close your kid's door. The other reason for closing their door is for fire safety. God forbid there's ever a fire in your house overnight, but if there was, then it would be detrimental to have your child's bedroom door open as opposed to the protection that their door is going to give them if their door is closed. So that's something that I'm really passionate about, and making sure that you're closing your kid's door at bedtime purely for their safety. And then another safety reason for closing their door at bedtime, which I could probably make a whole video on this. If you don't have baby locks or baby gates on things that you don't want your kids getting into in the middle of the night, because sometimes like kids are ninjas, and sometimes they will wake up in the middle of the night maybe to go to the bathroom. Maybe they see something on top of the bathroom sink, and then they want to find something in the drawer, and then they get into this, and then they get into that. Have you read the book If You Give a Moose a Muffin? Because it's like this leads to that, leads to that, leads to that, and that's kind of how toddlers are. Like they start doing one thing and it makes them think of another. It's kind of like ADD, isn't it? I feel like I'm very ADD in this video. It's fine. Close your kid's door at bedtime. The other thing with your child's sleep environment is their bedding. Your child can pick out their bed sheets and their comforter and whatever stuffed animals they want in their bed, because they are now toddlers, which means they are at an age where they can have a stuffed animal or two in their bed. If you have a child who wants to bring every single toy and stuffed animal in their bed, that is fine. Just try to move them after they have fallen asleep if you think that it's causing any risk of suffocation or any danger. Hack number 4 is avoiding sugar. I know this is so difficult, but a lot of families like to have a bedtime snack. Honestly, I've never really been one to need a bedtime snack or to care about giving my kids a bedtime snack. Like, it's just never been a part of my life, and I've always been okay. I mean, to each their own. If you want to give your kid a bedtime snack, go ahead, but you need to make sure that you're checking the sugar content, because you don't want your kid to have a blood sugar spike right before bed. And you also obviously don't want them to be running on sugar. So check their sugar intake. Clearly I'm not a nutritionist. There's plenty of great nutritionist YouTubers out there, but I do know that giving your kid sugar before bed is not a good idea. I also would say caffeine, because for adults, you don't want to be consuming caffeine before bed, and for children, sugar is their caffeine. Not only that, but sugar, I am just learning so much about sugar being really bad for everybody. Did you know that sugar is as addicting as cocaine? why are we giving this to our kids? At the very least, avoid it before bed. Hack number 5 is for the middle of the night wake-ups. Now, this is a phrase that I use with my clients all the time. If your child is having middle of the night wake-ups, then you probably need to hire me as a sleep consultant and get a sleep training sleep plan for your child so that they stop waking up in the middle of the night. What you need to do is make these wake-ups a transaction and completely unemotional. So it's transactional, not emotional. So you're not getting upset, you're not trying to cheer your kid up, like you're not doing anything emotional, you're just giving your kid a transaction. It's bedtime, go to sleep. Good night. Like, obviously give your kids some love and some hugs and kisses. You don't have to be harsh and say it the way I just said it, because that was really dramatic, like, rah, go to sleep. No, you can just go in there, say, it's bedtime, it's time to go back to sleep. And we were also talking about the nightlight situation. If you're using a red nightlight, which preferably you would be using the hatch, then you can set it on your phone so that when it is bedtime, the light turns red, and when it's time to wake up, the light turns green. And then you can tell your kid your light is still red, you need to be in bed. When it's green, you can be seen. Very matter of fact, like, this is what time it is, this is what we're doing, good night, I'll see you in the morning. And then you leave the room again and you're done until morning. And your kid will start sleeping through the night because they're realizing that they're not getting a midnight snack. They're not getting up in the middle of the night to come cuddle in your bed. They're not gonna wake up in the middle of the night and have you cuddle in their bed for the rest of the night. That's not happening. If you do need help breaking any of those habits, again, please reach out to me at slumberandbloom.com or click the link in the description box down below to check out my sleep training consultation packages. Don't forget to grab the bedtime routine card template that is also linked in the description box down below, and I will also pin it in the comment section of this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and keep blooming. Mwah. Are they kidding me?